After Captain Picard disclosed the second revelation from Q, Kevin expressed his inability to assist further, offering Captain Picard his best wishes on the challenging journey that lay ahead. With a firm handshake, Kevin vanished, leaving Jean-Luc contemplating the cryptic message playing in his head. Jean-Luc instinctively tapped his communicator in his home and hailed the Enterprise. "Number 1, come in. Enterprise, please respond." To his surprise, his home had been altered, signaling that things were not as he had left them. As he moved through his home, he found himself surrounded by unfamiliarity. The once cozy and memory-filled house had somehow transformed during his absence. The shift was subtle, yet undeniable. Commander Riker's voice crackled through the communicator, questioning the legitimacy of the transmission. "Captain, is that really you?" Picard assured him of his identity, prompting Riker to reveal that the captain had been missing for a year, presumed dead. A sense of unease gripped Picard as he realized something had gone awry during his time away. The room seemed to spin around Picard. A year? It was inconceivable, yet the evidence was undeniable. The changes in his home, Riker's surprise at hearing his voice, all pointed to a disturbing reality of missing time in his timeline. The captain's hairs stood on end, a harbinger of the challenges and mysteries that awaited him upon his return to the familiar yet altered reality. "Number 1, we need to talk," Picard said, his voice steady despite the rising tide of questions in his mind. Riker agreed, his voice echoing the same sense of urgency. He promised to pick up Picard with the Enterprise, a promise that brought a small measure of comfort to the disoriented captain. As Picard materialized on the bridge of the Enterprise, he felt a mix of familiarity and strangeness. The faces of his crew, Data and Geordi, were a welcome sight, but there were missing elements that tugged at his heart. Where was Lieutenant Worf? Where was Counselor Troi? Riker's expression darkened as he revealed, "Captain, Worf was killed in the line of duty by a unique Borg we have never seen before. This Borg teleported through our shields and moved with incredible speed, and wielded an energy blade on its right hand." Picard's face went pale. Was this the same Borg he encountered during the war with Locutus? And why were the Borg looking for this Jean-Luc Picard? The Borg interrogated Worf about Picard's whereabouts, and upon learning of Picard's supposed demise, ruthlessly decapitated Worf before departing. Deanna Troi, having witnessed the horrifying incident, took a leave of absence from the ship. Perplexed, Riker asked Jean-Luc about the term counselor and discovered that Deanna was now his wife. "Did you get married while I was gone?" Picard asked. "Captain, we've been married for 8 years now." A stunned Picard realized that significant changes not just to his home had occurred in his absence, and the weight of these alterations in his timeline began to dawn upon him. The captain faced the challenge of navigating a reality that was vastly different from the one he remembered. "Number 1, would you join me in my ready room? We need to discuss the time that I was missing and what I went through." As Captain Picard settled into his ready room, he began recounting the bewildering tale of his time away to Commander Riker. Riker listened attentively as Picard unfolded the intricate events that transpired. After the detailed narrative, Riker's expression shifted from curiosity to disbelief. "Let me get this straight," Riker summarized. "You were locked in a struggle with the Borg, but not just any Borg, the type that are lightning fast and have energy blades, and were confronted by your own Borg-assimilated self, Locutus. Q intervened by bringing you and different versions of yourself from various timelines to confront Locutus. In the course of this confrontation, Locutus, seemingly unhinged, killed 3 of his own iterations to show supremacy. You witnessed countless versions of yourself being decapitated, and on top of that, Locutus had a hidden weapon, a half-Q. Then Kevin the immortal Dowd arrived to assist, and in the end, Q sacrificed himself and killed the half-Q and Locutus to protect all the Picards from being wiped out." Riker's doubtful tone mirrored the surreal nature of the story, and he awaited confirmation from Picard, grappling with the staggering implications of the captain's account. "I know, number 1, this sounds crazy, but the Borg Queen got away." "Well, Captain, if this is all true, there might have been irreversible changes to different timelines, and it might be spilling over into others." Riker voiced his concern. Picard acknowledged, "Yes, number 1, perhaps you are right, but we still need some answers." The captain then proceeded to reveal the premonition Q had shown him. Riker's face sank with dread as Jean-Luc told him, I know that what I'm about to ask my crew and others in the Federation is a one-way ticket, possibly to which death is waiting, but it needs to be done. The weight of the impending decision and the gravity of the situation settled in as they prepared to confront the potential consequences of the altered timelines and the challenges that lay ahead. The captain, feeling the weight of the impending decisions, decided to visit 10 Forward, seeking guidance and wisdom from a dear old friend, Guinan. Guinan, an Elorian, possessed mysterious qualities, and while not much was known about her species, it was understood that they were empathic with limited telepathic abilities. Additionally, Elorians demonstrated perceptive abilities that extended beyond the normal space-time continuum. Their slow aging process allowed them to live centuries, and some Elorians have been recorded to surpass 700 years. Long ago, the Elorians established contact with the Q continuum during a ruthless Cold War that endured for possibly millennia and ended up in a truce. This historical encounter suggests potential clashes when the Q continuum might not have been fully omnipotent, or the Elorian race harbors hidden powers that remain undisclosed. Speculation arises regarding the Q possibly evolving at an exponential pace than the Elorians. The horrifying encounter with the Borg further complicates the narrative, as the Elorians faced near extinction at the hands of the relentless Borg collective. These enigmatic threads of history paint a complex picture of the Elorians and their interactions with formidable cosmic forces. As Picard entered 10 Forward, Guinan's already worried expression was evident. "Jean-Luc, it is good to see you," she greeted, her voice tinged with concern. "But there is so much disruption in the timelines I cannot see clearly. Even as I look at you now, I sense you are not the same Picard I've met before." Picard proceeded to explain the harrowing experiences he had endured. Guinan, visibly troubled, responded, "This is all wrong. This was not supposed to happen. Timelines might collapse in on themselves with all the changes and deaths." Confiding in Guinan about the unsettling voices in his head, Picard shared, "I know it's a Borg Queen, but not the Borg Queen I've ever met. It's different yet familiar, and I sense feelings, emotions, even coming from my own heart." The weight of the situation hung heavy in the air as the two contemplated the potential unraveling of timelines and why this Borg Queen was looking for him. "Maybe we can speak to the Q continuum and tell them what Q had done, see if they could reverse all this and set things back." "No, Captain. The Q continuum will do nothing. They do not care about anything or anyone. It would be pointless," Guinan replied with a solemn certainty. "But we have to try, Guinan. I have to try," insisted Picard, determination etched across his face. Suddenly, time stopped around Jean-Luc and Guinan, creating an eerie stillness. A familiar voice echoed, "Captain, she's right. I just came from speaking to the Q continuum." For part 2, share, like, comment and subscribe.